Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel RBhati Knowledge Sharing. First of all, thank you so much for appreciating our first YouTube video. Please subscribe to my channel, also share with friends and family, and please also like our videos to motivate us. In today's video, we will cover Scrum Lifecycle and timelines. We will create a flow including all 5 Scrum events. Please watch out my last video if you have missed out 5 Scrum events. Before I start with today's topic, let's see what we had covered in last video. Scrum overview, what is a complex problem, roles in a Scrum team. If you remember, product owner, developer, and Scrum master. Scrum 5 events, sprint, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. We also discussed 3 artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. We also call it value. Now let's start with Scrum Lifecycle. Time is the most important piece. Without timelines, there is no use of any project. When we start, there is always an end. That's why we call it time box in Scrum. One more thing, this time box maximum for 1 month or 4 weeks. The entire module which we will create is our first event, which is sprint. Within sprint, we will cover second event, sprint planning, third daily scrum, fourth sprint review, and last sprint retrospective. So now in this life cycle, the first one is who's involved in which time period. In sprint planning, scrum team plus others like stakeholders, but only on invitation basis. Daily scrum, only developers. Sprint review, only scrum team plus stakeholders. And sprint retrospective, only reserved with scrum team. Now let's see time period for these activities. Sprint planning, one time activity, maximum 8 hours during a sprint. Daily scrum, daily 15 minutes. You can say stand up meeting between developers. Sprint review, to see the output, maximum 4 hours activity. Sprint retrospective, maximum 3 hours activity. Now let's see the purpose of each activity. Sprint planning, to define sprint goal. Sprint planning is an event in Scrum that kick off the sprint actually. The purpose of sprint planning is to define what can be delivered in the sprint and how that work will be achieved. Most important piece, sprint planning is done in collaboration with the whole Scrum team. Now daily Scrum. Purpose is inspect the progress towards goal. The purpose of a daily stand-up meeting is to learn the current progress of every team member that works on Scrum task. Next is sprint review. Inspect the outcome. As I mentioned in my last video, the sprint review is one of the most important ceremony in Scrum where the team gathers to review completed work and determine whether additional changes are needed. And last one is sprint retrospective. Purpose is create an action list of improvement. So basically, in sprint retrospective, three things we can consider. First one is what went well. Keep doing these things. Second is what could be improved. Went okay, but could be better. Third, what went badly. So do not repeat these things again. So purpose of sprint retrospective to focus for next period or for next sprint. Last one, do not forget, no gap to start another sprint or scrum except weekend. Once you complete your this sprint cycle, you can move for the next sprint. There should not be any gap. That's all we have for today. In next video, we will learn Scrum by doing Scrum. In next video, in same flow, we will also add product backlog and we'll see how we can add values through sprint. In next video, we will also discuss in detail what is product backlog, who's responsible, what changes we can do in product backlog. I hope you like my video. I request everyone, please share your feedback, suggestions in comment sections to improve our channel's contents. Thank you everyone for your time. Bye bye. Take care.